And Vladimir Putin for not reacting immediately to the expulsion of Russian diplomats by Washington. In a tweet, Trump described Putin's decision as a great move and said the Russian leader is very smart. The Russian Foreign Ministry had recommended expulsion of 35 U.S. diplomats in response to a similar move by Washington. On Thursday, the Obama administration expelled 35 Russian diplomats and shut down 2 Russian compounds in the United States. Washington accused the Russian officials of making efforts to harm U.S. interests in connection with the November presidential election. Putin, however, ruled out any immediate tit-for-tat expulsion of U.S. officials.
We will not create problems for American diplomats. We will not expel anyone. While keeping the right for retaliatory measures, we will not descend to the level of kitchen irresponsible diplomacy. We will evaluate the new unfriendly steps by the outgoing U.S. administration as a provocation aimed at further undermining Russian-American relations. Further steps towards the restoration of Russian-American relations will be built on the basis of the policy which the administration of President Donald Trump will carry out.
Vladimir Putin said the Kremlin regrets that the Obama administration is ending its term in such a way. In a separate message, Putin congratulated the new year to Trump and expressed hope that Moscow and Washington will be able to take real steps to improve relations under Trump. In the U.S., Russian diplomats have left 2 compounds in Maryland and New York, which has been shut as part of Washington's punitive measures against Moscow. The Kremlin says a total of 96 Russians, including expelled diplomats and their families, are expected to leave the country. Senior editor at Veterans Today, Gordon Duff, joins us now from Ohio. Mr. Duff, welcome to the program. First of all, give us your thoughts on the perseverance displayed by the Russian President Vladimir Putin in response to the expulsion of Russian diplomats, and also of the tweet that Donald Trump has sent him, thanking him for it.
Well, this relationship, we call him here a bromance, that's being purported between Trump and Putin, I suspect is going to be very short-lived. As individuals, they have absolutely nothing in common. Putin is respected much more in the United States than most know or even would imagine, because his actions almost invariably are based on only 2 things. Preservation of the Russian state, that's his job, but also an abiding respect for international law. Putin is a major adherent to international law. And in one instance here over the last couple of days, and this overshadows this very minor issue between the U.S. and Russia, whatever President Obama's accusations have been against Russia over this election hacking, sending home 35 or 96 low-level officials and sanctions on 35 or 40 more obscure officials is nothing. The big happening was Obama allowing a UN Security Council resolution to condemn Israel for what amounts to years of war crimes. This is a very unique situation. And in that very critical issue, Obama went as far as to withhold a veto and to abstain from voting, while Putin voted to chastise Israel. Now, when Mr. Trump tweeted on this issue, this very vital, very real issue, he went after President Obama as being irresponsible for withholding a veto. Well, he didn't say anything to President Vladimir Putin, who actively supported going after Israel. They're at opposite sides here. They're at opposite sides in their dealings with Iran and Iran's nuclear program, that agreement. They're on opposite sides with China. They're on opposite sides in Yemen. There is something very different about these 2 individuals, where Mr. Putin is an adherent to international law and has respect for human rights. There is no evidence whatsoever that we're going to see the same thing from Donald Trump whatsoever. And one might ask then, well, what is it about Putin that Trump seems to like? Because they don't share values whatsoever. They have nothing in common as to how they deal with reality. We have one person who is active in reality television and fake news and irresponsible tweets and snide comments. And we have Vladimir Putin, whose statements here were careful, considered, and statesmanlike, always statesmanlike. There's nothing in common between these two.
Indeed, and how this relationship will transpire, only time will tell. Thank you, sir. Senior Editor of Veterans Today, Gordon Duff, joining us from Ohio.